Pakistan continues to provoke India through aggressive actions along our western border. Pakistan has used unmanned combat aerial vehicles, long-range weapons, loitering munitions and fighter jets to target civilian areas, and military infrastructure, hitting back hard after Pakistan's drone attacks across the western sector. India has carried out precision airstrikes on 6 Pakistan Air Force bases, which includes Murid, Rahim, Yar Khan, and Pakistani military installations at Shukur and Chunia. A radar site at Pasroor and Saikot have also been targeted. Pakistan has been carrying out, remember, heavy shelling along the line of control and targeting civilian areas. Indian Army has effectively and proportionately responded. India's response has been swift and calibrated, is what the government is reiterating. Joining me on this broadcast is Nikunj Garg, our senior managing editor. Also in the studio is Lt Gen Sanjay Kulkarni. Vice Admiral Anil Chawla is joining us, and also Wing Commander Gitanjali Singh.
General Kulkarni, we were having a discussion prior to the broadcast. Let me take that forward for our viewers' understanding also. Today, for the first time in that official briefing, the participants led by the Foreign Secretary mentioned that Pakistani Army is mobilizing and mobilizing to the forward area.
Absolutely.
What does that mean, sir? How would you put it in context for our viewers' understanding? So, mostly speak for the viewers.
Yeah. See, even from the point of view of the Pakistan Army also, in view of they wanting to raise the morale of their own troops, because right now they seem to be on the back foot with 6 of their air bases virtually, put out of, I wouldn't say totally out of order, because they can get them back in another 24 to 48 hours. So that's not amazing. But a lot of these 6 air bases have been destroyed, resulting in the air supremacy part and the air superiority. We have the air superiority. To get the air supremacy, we have to suppress the air defense. Once the suppression of the air defense, destruction of the air bases would lead to the aircrafts being totally there. Now the Pakistanis are worried that should that happen anytime, say next 24 hours or whatever that be so, then the defenses all along the LOC are going to get compromised. So might as well move in and occupy the defenses, because mobilization also takes for them 2 to 3 days, 4 days. So it might as well get into the defenses. Firing along from the LOC has been heavy. Pakistanis have been firing heavy. They were, for the first 10 days, they were with small arms, graduated to mortars and graduated to heavy artillery fire. We are also correspondingly increased our RT and mortar. Therefore, now is the thing to occupy the bases and look for an opportunity. Because at this point of time, Pakistan wants to raise the morale of their troops, that they're not on the back foot. Don't worry, we are at it.
So, A, this is a morale-raising exercise for their troops.
Yeah.
But B, as you are saying that they are covering their flanks. And C, but then it obviously raises the temperatures, because then it becomes a position where they are mobilized and we have not yet mobilized.
No. Even if we have not mobilized the troops all along the LOC, should they find weaknesses and just march in, the Pakistanis will be caught on the back foot. They wouldn't know what has happened to them, because rear areas are being destroyed. There's nothing along the LOC. So if the defenses have to be occupied, even if the rear areas get them, so they don't want their area to be compromised, and hence the mobilization to at least hold the front. If the front is also gone and the rear is also gone, then Pakistan collapses. So that is where they are aware that is may collapse, because the way we are getting on to their airfields being destroyed. Similar, more installations will go. If Pak raises the thing by hitting more, first day there were 16 odd targets they took on of ours. Second day they took 36. The third day 26. Almost 500 and about 600 of these, you can say, drones and missiles they used on the first 2 days. Yesterday another 200-300 of them. So about 1,000 of them. All this is they are also wanting to find out, how do we react? How are we reacting? And in that reaction, because they've got Turkish drones now, if they've got Turkish drones also coming in, Chinese drones also coming in, none of them are working. And their suppression by us of destroying their air defense equipment is so large that the Pakis are now on the back foot. And what I understand, logistically also, the shortage of fuel is started off in Pakistan. So there is fuel shortage, there will be ammunition shortage. In this heavy firing, we'll find they will lose a lot of their communication bases. Plus cyber, they will be also now a victim of a cyber warfare. So if cyber, the air defense being destroyed, the air bases being destroyed, there's a lot that is now happening in Pakistan, and Munir now would want to hit back. And therefore, the troops might be also questioning, if you're losing, what about the front? Okay. The Indians might just go through the front. It will just happen like Bangladesh, just move in and occupy Dhaka. So that shouldn't be happening with the Karachi that they're looking at. Rahim Khan has been destroyed today. So Rahim Khan is not very far. So they know that the Indians can do it, and therefore they're worried.
Vice Admiral Chawla, what's your assessment of the situation of today? Particularly, we seem to be certainly going up the kinetic ladder. It is only escalating from both the sides.
Absolutely right. That's what the Foreign Secretary also mentioned, that it's Pakistan which is escalating. India has been very careful right from the beginning of this entire operation Sindoor to clarify that first we are only attacking terrorist infrastructure, not even military infrastructure inside Pakistan, certainly not civilian infrastructure. It's then Pakistan that has further escalated it by attempting to attack military installations. And of course, in the process, because of their inaccuracy, they have also attacked civilian infrastructure in the beginning. Now, after we responded with targeted strikes on their military infrastructure, they're deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure, which we have seen the image that you're showing right now on the television. So, the fact is that they are the ones who are escalating, and they are the ones who need to de-escalate. And I think, as I mentioned earlier in your program, they need to come to their senses, because the Indian state has only used a fraction of its force against Pakistan right now. There's much more that is left. And a prudent person will step back from the brink, and I think that's what Pakistan needs to do.
Step back from the brink. But are the Pakistanis listening? Is the Pakistan military brass getting that sense is the big question.
Historically, it has taken at least a couple of weeks for it to sink into their brains. If you see any past conflict. And already, I think as General Kulkarni mentioned, fuel shortages are starting to emerge in Pakistan. They don't really have much capacity for ammunition and fuel storage. And so this bluster and the bluff that they are trying to perpetuate by sending UAVs and drones and random missiles, which have mostly been shot down, will come to an end soon. So I think the sum of the matter is that, as we are doing today, as the leadership is doing, we need to be resolute, and we need to ensure that we don't cede ground here, and that Pakistan realizes in a few days what its standing is. It's already surviving on a loan. I mean, yesterday it got a $1 billion loan, though of course that was not meant for defense purposes, but they've always misused whatever loans they had to either repay old loans from China or diverting them for quasi or military use. So I think in case they don't listen to reason and the rest of their lines of communication get blocked, principally from sea, because the aerial route has already been blocked by the Indian Air Force, then I think they will be in between a rock and a hard place. So that's why I'm saying that they need to step back now.
And Wing Commander Gitanjali, because of course it's an evolving situation, we have been constantly saying so, but the fact that India's civilian population is now being impacted, and how the homes being destroyed, we have lost administrative officer also of Jammu and Kashmir today. He has been martyred. It is not these are what is the collateral of a war. I mean, Pakistan has also targeted a school and a hospital. That's what the press briefing said. So India is emphasizing on those aspects while continuing to say that you are dealing with someone who doesn't really understand what's an exit route. The manner in which this war is playing out, it's only a dangerous path.
Yeah, I'll say you rightly pointed out. That is how our adversary has always been. That is how Pakistan has been. So to a response of India for a cowardly attack like Pahalgam, they have acted and reacted in targeting our civilian populations. And they continue to do so, whether it was escalation post-midnight. It kept on targeting our civilian, densely populated civilian areas, as well as when they've targeted military stations, they've targeted the Medicare centers and schools at both the places. A lot of collateral happens when a conflict is on, and that is what the results and on TV screen, the visuals that we are seeing. So yes, that's bound to happen, as well as when there's a lot of interception of aerial targets, like the UAVs, UCAVs last night. So it's bound to happen when it disintegrates, it falls. And yes, there are damages when it impacts any installation on the ground. So that is what has been happening. But yes, psychologically, when you see things falling apart from the sky and falling in this manner and making an impact on the ground, of course, for the population on ground, it is scary. But yes, we need to be together and take the actions as per the authorities are guiding us.
General
However,
Kulkarni, yes, General Kulkarni, your thought on the two men that India is being forced to deal with, not really deal with, but we do not see. Just look at those images. We'll be putting that detail out. You have Pakistan's new ISPR chief, who's the son of Osama-linked scientist, who had famously said, or should I say infamously said, jinns can make electricity. You're dealing with this man, and then you have General Munir. Both these men have taken their country down a very, very dangerous path, a point of no return, one would say. But the call that has been made by Marco Rubio to General Munir certainly emphasizes on the point that he is the man in charge, man in control of Pakistan right now, and the civilian leadership is completely inconsequential.
You're absolutely right. America, though a democracy, always believes in one-point contact. And they know in Pakistan, the only one-point contact is the chief of the army staff, Munir. Nobody else. However jihadi he may be, whatever he may be, he might take Pakistan down the lane, whatever it is. America knows one-point contact in Pakistan is Munir. Nobody else. We can say democracy, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this is a point that many are emphasizing, and I've been trying to discuss this point while we discuss the credentials or the backgrounds of these men.
Yeah.
Of course, the ISI chief is General Munir's close aide. He is his man. He has put him in that chair. Look, General Asim Munir is a professional soldier. At the end of the day, you can call him a jihadi, you can call him whatever you wish to, you can call him a hardliner, a radical, but he's a professional soldier with obviously over 3 decades plus of soldiering experience,
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So at the end of the day, he knows the consequences of his actions. He also knows the strength and the weaknesses of the establishment that he leads, which is the Pakistani military.
Absolutely.
He would also be acutely aware of the morale of his men and the wherewithal that he can actually bring to counter India's offense, if there were to be one. Now, under such a situation, what our co-panelist was rightly pointing out at this point in time, that it would take some time for the reality to sink in, but it would sink in. He's a professional soldier. At the end of the day, he knows the difference between a defeat and a win. And he also knows at what cost a victory and at what cost a defeat. So, do you think that this is, till now, this is buccaneering, brinkmanship that he has started some time back with his rather infamous speech about Balochistan? And he will go thus far and not any further from there on. Do you think that, or do you think, that he will continue this dangerous escalatory game come what may? What is your sense as a professional soldier? Make an assessment of General Munir.
See, Munir has sent his family abroad. So he is now all alone, knowing fully well what Pakistan can do and what Pakistan can't. He is addressing his, and they get impressed, influenced, their morale gets raised by their religious indoctrination, be whatsoever. That's their way of doing things. Munir knows it, how far can he go? And all this brinkmanship that is attempting to do, he also at this point of time knows that his reserves are very low. Bajwa, when he handed over the command to him, told him very clearly he doesn't have fuel for the tanks. So he knows exactly where it is. ever since Bajwa has left, the economic conditions of Pakistan have further gone down south. So they haven't gone up. Much that they may have got the IMF loan, $1 billion yesterday.
Yeah, but they will not come to their account tomorrow, right?
Even the $390 million given by Trump to upgrade, maintain F-16s will also take 2 to 3 years. So it's not easy. The aircraft that he has are of the older block. The JF-17s are older block. The JF-10s are the new ones, but he doesn't have that much. The maintenance, the number of aircrafts that he has, which he can actually fly, are not even 50%. So he knows all his this thing, but he cannot now come up and say he's put his country into a real problem. Now,
like General Musharraf in Kargil?
See, General Musharraf in Kargil was another, he used that commando brinkmanship, ki I can do it, not realizing that he did achieve surprise. I will accept that Musharraf did achieve surprise, but he couldn't sustain the momentum, neither could he carry forward, and therefore the defeat. So just maintain, to begin with a surprise, thereafter you have to maintain that momentum. That he couldn't. And that is why Nawaz Sharif had to go to Clinton on the 4th of July and seek, almost surrender, please help. Similarly here, Rubio has already rung up Murid to tell him, partner, this is what we assess about you. Choice is yours. You break, don't come back to us.
Are you of the opinion then the Chinese have no role here?
See, 65 war, 71 war, Kargil war, the Americans' equipment is what the Pakistanis are using, and they were quite effective. Even in 65 war, the Sabre jets, the tanks, the Patton tank that came, the man behind the machine matters. The equipment came, brand new, the state of the art, but the men couldn't adjust. Similarly now, the drones are coming, the missiles are coming from China and Turkey, but it takes a long time for troops to get adjusted to that. So they aren't as yet adapting to it. But he thought that yes, the Pak army is fully trained, not knowing that the Pak army has taken a back seat in Balochistan. Every day losing even 10 men is a huge thing in war, almost at war. When that Fazlur Rahman is saying again and again that there are 5 to 6 provinces in Balochistan, they don't fly the Pakistani flag. He's saying that in National Assembly. So there's a lot that is happening. Backfoot in Balochistan, backfoot with Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Here along, a lot of their own resentment within, a lot of officers, men not wanting to come back. So he knows his weakness, but he's showing that.
Bluster.
Yeah,
let me take that question that Maria actually raised to Vice Admiral Kumar. Vice Admiral, Maria raises a very important point. What role do the Chinese have here? Many would say, many neutral observers would say that today the Chinese influence on Pakistan is far greater, far more significant than Americans on the present day and age. Would you agree with that assessment, and would you agree that if Chinese were to be a willing party, a truce can come faster?
Firstly, I don't think India wants China to be any sort of a mediator. I don't think that is setting the cat amongst the pigeons. So that's the point number one. Secondly, as far as China is concerned, as far as the Pakistani armed forces are concerned, 83% of their arms were imported from China over the last 5 years. This is as per the SIPRI, the Stockholm Institute, which is a fact, including major arms systems, and many of them are on the way. One might ask, and I've done a paper on this, as to where does the money to pay all this comes from? And the answer really is the fact that the China-Pakistan economic corridor, in which China has invested over $60 billion, is one of the conduits in which the Pakistani state, read the Pakistani military, is giving several concessions to China. For example, running the Gwadar port is one of them, and many others, in order to finance their war machinery and get this investment from China. So as far as China is concerned, the role that China is today playing is principally, it is a principal supplier of arms and ammunition to Pakistan. Pakistan's reliance or dependence on the West has decreased considerably, as is evident from the current conflict as well. But China is very careful. Even in previous conflicts, China has never interfered or intervened directly on behalf of Pakistan. It's quite possible that they might be sharing intelligence or satellite imagery or things like that.
My question,
But,
Admiral, was slightly
and we've
different. My
supplied-
question, Admiral, was slightly different. But let me take that question to Wing Commander Gitanjali. My question is not about mediation, or my question is not about China's overt participation. What I'm trying to say is that China probably today wields far more or greater influence than it ever wielded in the past on the Pakistani military establishment. Because if you go by the Times of India of today, they have seen how the Pakistanis have been completely rearmed to teeth by the Chinese. And therefore, my question is that if the Chinese were to wish peace between India and Pakistan, as they have expressed an hour back, there was a statement from the Chinese establishment which said that, we request both parties to disengage. Do you think a peace would be possible faster? And particularly with the joint effort of the Americans and the Chinese, Pakistan could be made to see the reason? Of course, the might of the Indian armed forces would make them see the reason in some time to come for sure, as pointed out by Vice Admiral. But do you think that collaborative process can probably make them see the reason quicker?
Yeah, Nikunj, you've correctly pointed out that the Chinese influence has been increasing and has been more on Pakistan. And the exit route to all the escalation and all the ongoing scenario is actually diplomacy and continued effort and a common ground, which has to be offered by a third party, of course, whether it be US or China. But as you're saying, yes, the Chinese influence has been there. Providing a common dialogue or persuading for a common dialogue, of course, can be said that they can work out, because as Sir also pointed out, the ongoing inventory as well as the joint programs that Pakistan has been continuing with China is actually making it more confident into these conflicts, to enter into these conflicts, and thinking about that backing they might have. So a common ground, of course, and the dialogue, if pressurized and routed through China, could maybe work out. But however, I would say that the prudence still lies on the man leading the missions. So in Pakistan, the scenario is not seeming to be dealt in a very prudent manner and a very thoughtful manner. They're already sitting on brink of their reserves and on the lookout of their inventories. So that needs to be reconciled and rethought about.
Right.
The leadership there needs to
Wing
rethink.
Commander, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us, Lt Gen Sanjay Kulkarni here and Vice Admiral Chawla.